Elito, welcome to Aim to Next Digital. Super excited, about this conversation today. But let us start off with an introduction. Who's Elito, and tell us also a little bit more about AB InBev.
Sure. Thanks for the invitation. Very, very happy to be here. So I'm Brazilian, married. I have 2 kids. I have been working at AB InBev for like 26 years right now. Right after college has been a great journey. Been able to work in different areas in the company, logistics, manufacturing, procurement, even sales. I spent my first 10 years in Latin America, based in Brazil. Then I moved to Asia Pacific, where I lived for 8 years, and I was responsible for supply chain logistics over there. And then the last 8 years, I have been here in North America. And in the beginning of this year, I moved to our global office, where I am now responsible globally for supply chain logistics, which includes end-to-end planning, supply chain transformation, transportation, warehousing, last mile, which is a big thing for us as well. And always in AB InBev, beer company, the biggest beer company in the world right now, with very, very nice brands that I hope that most of the people has had the opportunity to taste some of our great beers. That includes Stella Artois, Corona, Budweiser, and several other very nice, important local brands.
I have to ask, any favorite?
Oh, it's hard to have. People always ask me this question. It's just impossible. Mm-hmm. I do like from different types of beers, specific brands. So I would have probably a 5 or 6 to tell you. So I prefer kind of a whole, especially because some of my brewmaster friends will kind of get, okay, you forgot something on your list.
There you go. No, obviously,
But I definitely drink not regularly. I love Belgian beers overall as well. So Stella, I love one that is small called Kwak that we can find as well. Lef is great. And the day-to-day, the Bud, and the favorite from my kind of a hometown, I'm from Rio, that is called Chopp da Brahma. So it's the draft beer of Brahma that is fantastic. You have to try once you go in Brazil.
No, definitely. Been in Rio multiple times, so familiar with that beer. Very nice indeed. What I always love when I visit the ABI offices, some people, they have all their favorite, beers, bottles, cans, whatever on their desks. So always it gives a good vibe, when you walk into the office.
Yeah, and after kind of living all over the place, I lived in UK, I lived in South Africa as well before. So I kind of, I like to try a lot. And I have several actually very good beers in my list.
That's awesome. Hey, and Luke, congrats on a fantastic career and obviously your move to global, taking on this global role. Now, Onijn and AB InBev, we have been on the journey for quite some time. And actually, you were on the implementation side as well in Canada, United States. And now you're taking over the global responsibility also for the supply chain planning transformation with Onijn. Tell us a little bit more about sort of why initially did ABI embark on this journey and what's been sort of the progress to date.
Sure. Our ecosystem is quite complex. Our company were moving. We were moving to new categories. Innovating more than we used to. So that means more consumers, more products, more SKUs. And we had to make sure that we were preparing ourselves as a company to serve better, to connect better this ecosystem that was already complex and was a plan to be even more. And one of the key things that we did when we look our digital transformation plan was to make sure that our systems were better integrated. So we had the process, we had systems supporting those processes, but they were not very well integrated as we would like to. And it was not enabling that much scenario planning, connection with finance, making sure that supply chain is really, orchestrating the whole system. So we decided to started with planning because of the how this area connects the company and our external stakeholders as well. And that's when everything started. So what kind of a tool, what kind of a capabilities we need to really kind of move to a new reality where we could have a much more connected ecosystem and integrated in the best way possible to serve our clients.
No, that's great. Can you tell me a little bit more about the functional scope? So what are some of the O9 capabilities that we have implemented, and how did that change the way that you guys did planning?
Yeah, we our planning tools overall, they were able to bring us to a specific level of results. We want to go beyond, and to go beyond, we, as I mentioned, we had to integrate. So when we have some of the pilots with O9, and we started to better connect those processes, we started to see very nice improvements. Because of the way that our network is, supply network planning is a big thing for us. Our manufacturing base is pretty big, and so is the amount of let's say points of delivery that we have and consumers. So supply network planning, both in tactical and operational, I would say it was pretty important, together with the demand planning. Demand planning, the way that this ecosystem, as I mentioned, was changing, changed the consumer behavior. Our company, as I mentioned, coming with more innovation and different categories. So we had to kind of adjust our demand planning in the way that we were preparing ourselves, the way that we were communicating with our commercial team and our customers. And O9 has been helping a lot on that sense.
Now, what I like about it is a truly end-to-end transformation. You talk about supply network planning, so there's the entire supply planning across all time horizons. There's demand planning. Yep. We do a lot in terms of inventory and so forth and so forth. Now, the transformation really kicked off in Canada, where we said, okay, Canada is sort of the beachhead market, the big pilot. And then from Canada, we went into Brazil, China, the United States, and then we also decided to do sort of the mid-sized markets. There was Colombia, Korea, and so forth. Yep. So what's your point of view on, that sequence where you took one market end-to-end, you brought it to your bigger markets, and then you again went to some of the medium-sized markets, and what have you learned, by doing it this way?
Yeah, I think one of the strength of our company is when we decide to do something, we really go and do it. I think the way that we can connect with our teams, the way that we can communicate and make things happen, it's definitely a big strength. And when we decide to do this digital transformation, and we have some pilots, not just in Canada, because in parallel, a few months later, we started to pilot some specific capabilities in other countries as well. We were able to build a global template. And with that, we put all the learnings from those countries that we're piloting. So the next one, we could always kind of enhance that. So we had a good playbook to roll out to other countries, including the mid-sized ones. With all the learnings, all the small changes in process that you need to do to kind of maximize, the potential of the tool. What kind of a training you need to do to our planners, considering some small changes in the ways of working as well. And very important in terms of best practice, because it was a easy way for us to share best practice. There was a lot of practice that came from other countries back to the one that we're piloting before as well. And this has been helping us to kind of really speed up the implementation. I think one of the things that was different from the beginning, of course, and when you're piloting or learning, and it takes a little bit longer, but during the rollout, then we were able to really speed. And now we have at least in 5 big regions that we have, the tool already running, with our planners being more comfortable and connecting better and maximizing the tool. And I think we are in a good pace, to really kind of roll out to the rest of the key countries that we still don't have, the O9 implemented.
Yeah, awesome, and thanks for sharing that. Now, you mentioned that before already, but obviously one of the reasons to do this, one thing you said is, hey, there is an increase in complexity and so forth, so we need to manage that. At the other time, there is a business case and there's business value to be realized as well. Across, the program, we are measuring, forecast accuracy, service level, network efficiency, solver run times, productivity of planners, and so forth. Can you tell us a little bit more about the value that we have realized together throughout this program?
Yeah, it has been a nice journey. There's always some bumps, and it's part of the game to have it. I think the partnership has been working well. You guys are always very open to address issues and specifics that we bring. Performance-wise, We do see improvement in terms of solver time compared to what we had before. We know that potentially you guys can go even beyond that, and we have been working on this as well. But the results in terms of KPIs are really impressive. So I think there is this back end that we can definitely continues to improve, but the results is already there. We can have like forecast accuracy probably like 10% better than it used to be, and we already had in some countries, machine learning kind of a robust systems as well before. And even though we had good enhancements, network, both efficiency and the execution of that plan, it's at all-time high this year. It also increased something around the 10%, 8 to 10%. We had service level and inventories improving by 15%. So we are quite happy. The more you get mature as well, and the better the planners are using the tool, and the better we are connecting with the other areas as well. I think that's where the uplift came from. The ability for us to better connect, show to us opportunities that we haven't seen, and it's bringing that into results, and some of them better than the business case as well.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Very impressive results indeed. And obviously that, makes us proud as well, because what we want is, deliver value to clients like yourself. Now, the other thing that I like is, we get this question all the time: how do you set up your organization to do something like this? And what you guys did, you also build and sort of leverage your planning COE. You have one in Mexico, one in India. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit more about, what do those planning COEs do? And also, how do they, for instance, support some of the smaller markets with, improved capabilities?
One of the things that I tried to do was to really speed up some of the capabilities that we know that we could be used in some of those countries, that although we didn't yet start the full implementation rollout of the 09 and even some other systems as well, transportation system and other systems, but we have been trying to further use our COEs, to reach those countries beforehand. And I think the biggest and probably the best example with 09 has been with our demand planning, our forecast tool. So we had those two locations already running for some of those countries where we implemented, and we decided to bring all the other small countries that we have, over 20 countries, to those two locations, Mexico and India, and run the forecast solver from there. So although they did not have the 09 implemented, we could use that specific capability to really enhance the demand planning for those. So that's the thing of better connecting and data. It always allows you to further centralize, which is something that we have been looking for big time. And the quality of that solving also enable us to be a little bit more touchless, which is a big KPI that we are looking for the future as well to keep enhancing.
No, that's awesome. And I also like that. I think especially for maybe the very small countries, might not justify to put in, advanced planning system like 09, but if you centralize that and offer that as a service to those markets and then improve their KPIs, I mean, that's super efficient, but also smart to do. So thanks for sharing that, Elito. Now, obviously, we focus on the core, right? The end-to-end planning, demand, supply, S&OP. But now what we said, we also want to move upstream. So we want to do, supplier collaboration, some supplier risk management. And we said, we're going to start in Brazil, and then, we expand similar to what we have done for core planning. Tell me a little bit more about that scope of that supplier collaboration. Why is that important to 09, and what are your expectations?
If you think about how good and well orchestrated is a supply chain, in the normal evolution, it's like sometimes you are siloed, then you have to better connect those silos. You need to internally and externally. And one of the most important ones that we saw a few years ago was that the quality in the way that we were collaborating with our suppliers could definitely improve big time. From an integration standpoint, it's not just about how we collaborate. We try to collaborate, but if it's not very well connected, especially if with the complexity that we have, we could kind of have a much better supply chain orchestration if we have that piece of the chain very well and strong. We started connecting those, but again, it wasn't fully integrated. So we started to be connected, but not fully integrated. So we came to you guys and said, why not trying to put this into the same platform that will kind of make it much easier for us to manage that data and how this data flows throughout our systems, that would enable us to kind of better communicate, down the stream to our suppliers, to our inbound logistics as well. So we decided to start with a pilot. Brazil, it just started. I have very high expectation for that because our goal is to really hit a high level of maturity and orchestration in terms of supply chain in every region where we operate. And supplier collaboration is definitely a very important piece of the puzzle for us to get there.
Amazing. No, thanks for sharing that. Last question, Elito. Obviously, I love this approach, right? We put in the core, hey, there's another challenge on supplier, visibility and collaboration and so forth. So let's do that. What else is on the horizon, and sort of what are the things on the O9 roadmap that you find exciting?
There are several. We need to be careful sometimes not to kind of overstep. We put like 8 or 9 capabilities already of O9, and we do not have yet everywhere. And our digital transformation in the way that, in the stage that we are right now, one of the things that we're putting most focus is to really make sure that we have every single operation in a much better place where we were. So we built like a roadmap for digital transformation for every area, not just for the planning piece. Make sure that those are connected, because we, as I mentioned to you, the integration of systems, the way that we have been able to connect the pieces of the supply chain is what really kind of maximize our results. So we have been putting a lot of efforts to bring that average of technology up. We do have a lot in our plate right now to make sure that we move those other countries to the level of the ones that started earlier, that is in a more mature level. As you know, we have a lot of countries with very different maturity in terms of operation. We grew by M&A, we had several. We have some small countries as well. We want to make sure to bring them to a good level. But at the same time, we keep our mind open to explore and still enhance the ones that are already ahead of the curve internally. And for that, we look definitely for scenario planning, the power of scenario planning to be more sensitive, faster, more on the table itself. Do it as along the meetings, along the SNOPs, for example, and run small scenarios. That's definitely something that we would like to be able to do more often. The IBP, that is a buzzword, but the way that we connect with finance, I think still can be improved, and support our decisions. I always say that our planning team is always on the table. We are there suggesting and helping and supporting the big business decision. But the better we can do the scenario part and better connect with the finance simulators and outputs, I think we can definitely kind of continue to move and help the business to grow.
Amazing. No, Elito, thanks so much for today's conversation. What I really like, I've been in touch with you guys, for 5 years. The first time I got in touch, you guys always said, if we do something, we go big and we do it at scale. And that's exactly what we've done together. We're super proud to be partners with you on this journey. And I would say, cheers, and we'll talk more, but thanks for today's conversation.
Sure, thanks a lot. And, for sure the partnership will continue, and let's have some beer.
Absolutely. Thanks,
All right.
man. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.